Salutations, my most honored retinue. I have descended upon you, wary watchers, by the call of fate, to enthrall you with a rousing treatise on the intricacies and nuances concerning turbo DPS teams, where I cast the spotlight on the three regarded and respected pyro DPS, the Darknight Hero, the Spark Knight, and the 77th director of the Wansheng Funeral Parlor. Turbo DPS is the term some players have given to a team that uses electro-charge reactions before attacking with pyro to trigger a mixture of overload and vaporize, dealing AoE and single target damage. Fischl is perhaps the best electro support for this build, as her electro application comes from her elemental skill, meaning that it can be cast without energy. However, there are substitutes. Beidou's ability to counter and generate orbs can be quite effective. Her burst is a shield with constant electro application, also very good for offense and defense. Lisa's burst can also be quite powerful, which has a constant electro application and 15% defense strat on her 4th Ascension passive. However, since Lisa and Beidou both use their bursts to provide constant electro application, they are going to require lots of energy recharge, whereas in Fischl's case, she uses her skill, not her burst, and thus is not limited by available energy, allowing you to fully build her for DPS. For Hydro support, we once again recommend Xingqiu, as his constant Hydro application from his burst is very useful in creating electro charge reactions, which can then be followed with a vaporize once you switch to your Pyro main DPS. For the 4th slot, you can choose either a healer or shielder if you want to play safe, or a Nemo support for crowd control and additional damage. Now let's begin with a short tutorial on the turbo rotation. Turbo begins with electro charge reactions before turning them into vaporize or overload reactions for massive damage. First, apply Hydro with Xingqiu using his skill, burst, skill, rotation. You follow this up by casting Fischl's elemental skill, or in Beidou or Lisa's case, cast their respective bursts. Now that the stage is set, switch to your Pyro DPS and attack. There are several reasons why we start with Hydro. For one, some enemies already have the Pyro status, for example, torch-wielding Berserker Hilichurls or Pyro Slimes. If you start with, say, Electro first, you will be causing overload reactions, which may knock the enemies away, or even worse, knock you away and deal damage to you by causing an overload reaction on yourself. This is because in the open world, there could be burning grass, and if you step on it, you will get the Pyro status. Other reasons why include the fact that Xingqiu's abilities give him Hydro Swords, which can protect your team from damage. Lastly, Xingqiu is a popular choice for using the 4-piece Noblesse Oblige set bonus. This means that after using Xingqiu's burst, the party will have an attack percent bonus. So when you use Fischl's abilities afterwards, they will snapshot the attack percent bonus. However, the order changes if the 4th slot includes certain characters. This can get a little bit complicated. If Bennett is in the party, Bennett's burst goes before Xingqiu, as once Bennett has used his burst, his energy bar will be empty, and thus he can absorb energy generated from Xingqiu's skill, burst, skill, rotation afterwards. For your info, characters not on the field absorb 33% of the energy orbs. Once Bennett's burst is used, use Xingqiu and Fischl's abilities in the previously described order. Both of their abilities will be greatly enhanced by snapshotting Bennett's attack bonus, and Bennett will recharge quite a bit of energy while off the field, making his next burst come a lot sooner. As for Sucrose and Venti, they are best used before the Pyro main DPS's turn, as their burst lasts for a shorter amount of time. If you are a bit familiar with the game's meta, you might be aware that Vaporize and Melt are the popular reactions right now for DPS, whereas Electro Charge and Overload are seen as weak reactions due to their low damage. I believe that this view is not fully representative, as their AoE and crowd control potential is very useful. Overload reactions also have the ability to break geo shields. In conclusion, since Turbo already involves vaporized reactions, adding Overload and Electro Charge on top of that will make this build very well rounded, being able to deal both AoE, crowd control and strong single target damage. use Bennett's burst to grant the party increased attack and snapshot it using Fischl's skill. However, as Bennett's burst is short, I decided not to use it before Xingqiu's rotation. Using Klee's skill and then Venti's skill at the start can reduce pyro resistance significantly of some enemies. However, due to the complexity of this rotation, the steps do not have to be strictly followed depending on the situation. Well, this brings us to the end of the video. Thank you everyone for your support. We will continue to produce more exciting content every week. Next, we will have our Anemo Geo Support Pyro DPS video. It may seem boring, but the stage is set for the arrival of the God of Contracts. As the Genshin Teahouse, we are proud to represent the following Discord servers: the Liyue Teahouse and the Genshin Galaxy, where over 1,000 players who all love Genshin Impact are gathered. We would like to thank these servers for supporting us, so do check them out. Invite links are in the description below.